Remember, I warned you. Leave this house tonight.
Hey gang, Uncle Todd and Sonny here, and for our last review for the month, we're going with The Ghost That Creeps, better known as Boys of the City, but I like that title. It was the second of the East Side Kids films that was made, the first with Bobby Jordan and Leo Gorcey and Sammy Morrison and David Gorcey, and although David may have been in the previous. Anyways, this was the start of the official East Side Kids series, although the previous one is tied to this one. This is almost a direct sequel. And as we go along, you'll probably notice the plot is little similar to Spooks Run Wild, only more of a mystery than a could he be a vampire kind of thing. Anyways, it's a direct sequel in that in the previous film, Danny, played by a different actor, his brother Knuckles was framed and convicted of murder and sentenced to die, and then they worked and solved the mystery and basically exonerated him and fingered the actual killer. And then he was, exonerated, and that's where we come up with here. And we start our film with an extremely hot day in the Bowery, and kids being kids do what they do on hot days in poor sections of town just after the Great Depression. Yes, it's all amusing to everybody until a fruit stand gets knocked over from the massive water coming down the gutter, which leads to a fight, and they get arrested, and then Knuckles, along with his friend Algie, make a deal to keep the boys out of going to juvie.
It's up to you, boys. It's either the mountains or...
Okay, we'll go. Don't jump in confusion.
I know, it's usually Gorcey that does that, but this was an early one. They hadn't set the pattern yet. Yeah, basically, they either go to Algie's father's ranch up in the mountains and spend the summer there, fishing and whatnot, or juvie. So they go. Now, while that's been going on, we cut to Judge Parker. And he has a bit of an encounter he does not appreciate.
Holy horseshoe!
Yeah, it seems the judge is a little crooked, and he'd been dealing with a notorious criminal gang. and well, he got caught taking a bribe. So he decided it was better to turn state's evidence and testify against the gang, which they don't like. His first thought is to get out of the country, but his private secretary Giles finds that not going to be able to get a boat for 2 days. A lot could happen, but he does have that estate up in the, you guessed it, mountains. So he packs up his niece Louise along with his bodyguard Simp and Giles, and they head up to the mountain where the car mysteriously runs out of gas. Perhaps that gas leak wasn't fixed the way they thought it was. So Giles starts to head back to town. It's only a couple miles to get to the service garage, and they can get a tow truck up there.
What is it? What happened? The motor exploded.
Holy demolition!
That's my dustpan.
The motor exploded? Yeah, that doesn't sound ominous at all. Wonder what caused it.
A spark must have lit the gas from the leak. It's a bomb, a time bomb.
Oh, the humanity.
Bad news. What are they gonna do? Luckily, Knuckles pulls up in their station wagon. And of course, the boys are just dying to help these people.
In trouble? Yes, had a blowout. Skidded into the bank. Could you give us a lift?
No.
No. Keep quiet, fellas.
But there is a pretty girl there, so of course, Knuckles and Algie decide, yeah, we'll give them a lift. And they go to this pretty big estate where Scruno finds that some of the decor isn't to his liking.
Ghost!
Turns out that is a family cemetery of the judge's dead wife's family. She's actually interned there. And you also find out that the rear end of their station wagon has finally given out. So they ask if they could stay till the morning, at which point they can make arrangements to get to the camp. But Judge isn't too keen on having these kids all over the place. That is until Louise says she saw a man in the cemetery. Now, nobody sees the man, but the judge suddenly becomes very gregarious and inviting everyone to stay, hoping if there's enough people there, he won't be attacked. Well, they all start lugging in when turns out there was a man in the cemetery.
Zoinks!
Maybe Scruno's right, and there is a ghost in there. But now it's time to meet the not at all creepy or scary or demented housekeeper.
What happened?
Good evening.
Yeah, she seems perfectly normal. We'll get to that later. Let's not jump ahead yet. Anyways, turns out there's no lights. Power must be out. Although, everything else seems to work, like the kitchen, because the cook does prepare dinner. But, you know, the boys all get rooms and such. And, oh, remember that guy in the cemetery? Louise in the house now. You know, I'm beginning to think somebody's not going to make it through the night. Oh, and we learned some more information about the judge's nefariousness and his secretaries.
I'll put Louise in an adjoining room so she can hear if anything happens to me. And I can hear if anything happens to her.
You'd like for something to happen to Louise, wouldn't you? With Louise out of the way, your slow embezzling of her fortune would never be found out.
And with me out of the way, you could get hold of her and her money.
Boy, everybody's got motives for everything, huh? Well, let's skip to some of the boys' shenanigans, such as after dinner, them finding a decanter of cigars on the table, and, well, being manly men, they obviously partake. Yeah, first time they all got sick. Well, that is except for Pete.
What's up, Danny?
He got sick.
Sissies.
Nothing like a little bit of cigar humor. To show you, don't smoke, kids, despite Pete says. Hi, buddy. Anyways, now we run into a bit of synchronicity here as Judge Barker realizes he knows Knuckles.
Where before?
Yes, sir. I was on trial in your court. I'm Knuckles Dolan.
Knuckles Dolan.
That's right. You sentenced me to death for murder. I was innocent, afterwards exonerated. Remember? I'm up here with the boys, their guardian.
He's up here to murder me.
Bit of an overreaction, maybe, but the man is paranoid after all. Well, Parker zips back upstairs, or he's going to stay in his room. And, we get a bit of a dramatic scene between Danny and Knuckles, as older brother, younger brother type thing goes. And it's a nice scene, and it shows that Bobby Jordan was probably the best actor amongst the original Dead End Kids. And it is a shame he never really came into his own after the war. These early East Side Kids films are probably the best of his showcase. Although he did do some good work in the 50s for TV, but he just wasn't lucky. You know, some actors aren't, despite their talent. Yes, we're getting to that scene now. Agnes and Louise have a bit of a tete-a-tete themselves.
Such nice, soft, white skin. And Nora had white skin like that. Until it became yellowed and shriveled. What a pity, pretty lady, if your skin should lose its whiteness.
I'm getting to it. She's got a real Mrs. Danvers vibe. You know, from Rebecca, the Alfred Hitchcock film that came out the same year. Based on the Daphne du Maurier gothic romance mystery. Which has a bit of shade of Jane Eyre to it. Anyways, after that, she suddenly disappears. As does Louise.
Hi, keeper.
Dad, Zooks. There must be some hidden passages in this house. Who could have thought? Yeah, I know it's a staple of the genre. Anyways, the boys upstairs hear the organ playing. That's odd. Everybody retired to bed, didn't they? Why would there be an organ playing? They go to investigate, find no one at the organ, but Mrs. Danvers, Agnes, likes to give them a warning.
She plays it every night.
Lenora? Oh, that's Mrs. Parker, isn't it?
Lenora cannot rest. Her grave is ever empty at nights.
You can't scare us with that dribble.
It's not a question of fear, but of your safety.
You're doomed. You're all doomed.
Of course, these are tough inner city kids from the Bowery. And as I said, that don't scare them.
Come on, fellas. Let's go to bed.
You know, that's the best idea you've had all night. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. That would scare me. Well, they all head back to their room, and remember that stuff about Lenore walking at night?
You want that old graveyard down there and everything. I just as soon go down there and walk through it now. I ain't afraid.
Ghosts!
Well, there's only one thing to do. No, not hide under the covers. Go and investigate. While they head out to the cemetery, something that was foretold, yes, by me, happens.
You. No. No!
Oh, the humanity.
Someone he knows. Well, we know it can't be Knuckles or any of the boys. So what do we got? Well, we've got Giles, Simp, Agnes, Louise. Oh, no, wait a minute. Don't have Louise because she's kidnapped. Cook. And the mystery guy. Fortunately, Giles thinks it's Knuckles.
But you strangled Judge Parker with a cord from one of your own bedroom drapes. And you made away with Miss Mason, too. You mean Miss Louise? Miss Mason, do you? She's vanished, not a trace of her.
Looks like Danny's suspicions, back during the earnest talk that we skipped over, that someone would take out the judge and blame it on Knuckles. Well, Algie goes to phone the police, but the line's cut. Well, Giles thinks they're all in on it. He's going to put them all in a room and guard them till morning, and then Simp can go get the sheriff. But he hadn't counted on the resilience of inner city kids.
Hey, Knuckles! All right, Frisco. Now you two can do the waiting for the cops. You kids get some rope, curtain cords or something. You favor curtain cords, don't you? We'll tie up these babies, put them in an upstairs room, and leave a guard on them.
Ha-ha! Well, they're tied up and they've got guards. It's time for everybody to start pitching in. They might not be the killers. There could still be a killer around there. So, Knuckles will search outside. The boys will split up, much to Scroono's disappointment, and search the house. At which point, we get a clever little arty shot, which pops up occasionally in these films.
Hey, ain't you too old to be looking for Santa Claus?
I don't know. Murderers sometimes use chimneys.
You know, this joint kind of reminds me of those old castles with passageways and secret panels and all that junk.
See what I mean? Occasionally, these directors, even on their short shooting schedules, can come up with a cool shot now and then. As for the secret panel thought that Muggsy was talking about, he thinks it might have something to do with the organ.
You're crazy. You haven't seen too many movies.
Movies? That's it. Say, what's a thin man got that I ain't got? Mine eye. Give me a little time, Bud. Give me a little time.
I love that exchange. That is like one of my favorite lines in the whole film. Turns out he's right. Well, they get separated, and Danny gets scared, but they meet back up until they come to a fork. At which point, they chop the candle in half and each head back another way, different tunnel. At which point, Muggs finds something interesting in a room.
This looks like a ghost. It is the ghost.
This just about solves the mystery.
What?
Can you guess what gag they're going to do now?
Ghost! Help! Muggs!
Anyways, Muggs soon reveals himself to Danny. Didn't mean to scare him. And he's convinced Agnes is the killer. Yeah, sure. She's the ghost, she's the killer, all makes sense. So they head back to tell Knuckles when someone tries to scare him again.
Beware!
What was that?
Something tells me we ain't alone.
There he is! Let's get him! Come on!
Yeah, I think they've had enough of these scary shenanigans, but they don't chase him very far.
Hey, watch it! Look, it's close! He's dead! Look, she's unconscious. We gotta get her back to the house.
Well, that was a stroke of luck. They carry her back to the library, where they administer first aid to bring her around by rubbing her hands. I guess that was a standard procedure back then. Muggs calls for Knuckles, who comes in, learns about the tunnel, and heads down after the guy that was in there.
All right. We'll call it a draw.
Well, see why they call him Knuckles. He's a pretty tough hombre. Anyways, now that he has the killer, a couple of boys go upstairs to release Simp and Giles, who then promptly decide to go to bed. Anyway, let's find out the identity of this mystery man.
Jim Harrison, District Attorney's Office.
Yes, little the worse for wear.
Well, I'm sorry.
That's all right.
Hey, then you ain't the killer.
I'm sorry to disappoint you. I came out here to see to it that nothing happened to prevent Judge Parker from appearing for his trial.
Well, if he's not the killer, it must be Agnes.
Lenora was Judge Parker's wife. She lived here shunning the world during her last years because of his cruelty.
So you killed him for revenge?
No, I planned to kill him. That's why I pretended to be a ghost, to get these children to leave the manor. But when I went to kill him, he was dead.
A likely story. Well, the DA man sends everybody out so that he can question Agnes. You don't think he's going to get violent with her? No, you're right. You're right. Good guys in these movies don't do that to old ladies, no matter how much they might deserve it. Still have to find the cook, which Scruno actually solves that one.
Find anything? No, not yet. Did you? No. Oh, excuse me. He's dead. Help!
Wow. She must have taken care of him too. Looks like this case is all wrapped up. Well, Knuckles is tougher than that. He comes to pretty quickly. So while everybody else heads down through the tunnel after the killer, he cuts through the graveyard to the shortcut he found while he was searching. My money is on the killer being Giles. Huh? You take Simp. Okay.
Louise. You ran yourself right into the grave. Get over there.
You were right. It was Simp. Looks like he's going to get away with it, too.
Hold it! Hey, Knuckles. All right, Simp. Here's your murderer. He was the judge's bodyguard.
Bodyguard? That's Johnny Harris, Maury's best figure man.
So it looks like Giles was innocent.
Did he do it?
Yes.
Well, lock him up.
That's what we're going to do. And just so he won't be lonesome, we're going to lock you up, too.
Well, what for?
You know all about Judge Parker's business. And when you tell it to the court, there'll be a lot of New York crooks going up the river.
Not too innocent. Well, it looks like we get the traditional romantic ending.
I'm going back to town with Mr. Harrison, but with Judge Parker gone, I'll be very much alone.
Well, I might be able to find a place for you on our gang.
How about it, boys?
Maybe not that romantic. But hey, we gotta end on a high note. Like how Agnes isn't really that bad.
Look what's coming.
Oh, boy! Boy!
Cage!
They demolished that. Oh, I forgot. Always gotta end on a gag.
Ow! What's the matter, Ghost?
No, that's my hand you eating, man.
Being cruel to a minority. Always good for a laugh. What's the times? Anyways, as the introduction to the new Leo Gorcey and Bobby Jordan and the new East Side Kids, it's not too bad. It's a well-worn trope at this point. They'd been having comedy teams in haunted houses since the silent days. And the plot's not too bad. A pretty decent mystery. You got a lot of creepy people around. Make good suspects. And the banter between Jordan and Gorcey is pretty good. They're almost like co-leaders. Of course, that would shift a few films down the way as Gorcey started to exert more control over the series and eventually revamp it into the Bowery Boys. Also, after Huntz Hall would rejoin the group after his time with Universal, he and Gorcey developed a really great comedy chemistry, and that left Jordan kind of off to the left, where he would get some good scenes, but this was probably his shining moment. Although the one where they ended up having to box each other to prove who the real leader of the group was, which Danny won in that one, was not too bad. But yeah, Jordan just kind of slowly, over the course of several films, got pushed farther and farther into the background. Sad, because as I said before, he's a really good actor. The film itself, it's a B movie from, well, I can't even say it's a B movie. Well, yeah, it's a B movie, B for budget. But it's a B movie from Poverty Row Studio Monogram. And as such, pretty threadbare on a lot of the sets and things, because the outside was amazing. They filmed it outside of an actual decent sized house, and the inside looks like studio sets because that's what they were. But I mean, you got to give some slack for the budget and stuff, but it keeps things moving. Most everything happens in the last half. The first half's almost all set up with some banter between the gang. But at the halfway point, things really start to get going. And the haunted house jinx are pretty funny. Jordan and Gorcey, they play well off each other. And they could have developed into a really good comedy team. But such was not the way it went. And how can you compete with Huntz Hall? I mean, he's up there with Curly Howard. Yeah. So, yeah, all in all, it's an okay film. It's pretty fun. Got some decent scares. Pretty good fight. And, I mean, you've got a good leading man in Dave O'Brien, who very, very charismatic on screen and very gregarious. Sort of what Lloyd Bridges would become in his career. Very outgoing and stuff, and just he's likable. Oddly enough, he played one of the most craven villains in exploitation as the marijuana hopped up killer in Reefer Madness. But that's a film for another time. It's there's not much else to say about the Ghost Creeps. It's just, you either like the East Side Kids or you don't. And they do have their charms. A lot of the film was ad-libbed because that's just how they work. They love just coming in the scenes, spouting off stuff, and causing a lot of mayhem. Although you do have some directors who could keep a rein on them. And here they don't do too bad with their ad-libs and their running around, but yeah, it's pretty good first entry. And as the series progressed, they would bounce back and forth between serious melodrama and slapstick comedy and crime pictures too, because they had, being in the Bowery, of course, crime's rampant, and they even joined the war effort a couple of times and defeated some Axis goons in some films. And even ended up on horseback at one point, because that's just how Monogram runs. Anyways, please hit like, share, and subscribe, and stay after the credits for my favorite scene.
Jeepers creepers. Thanks.
How?